Georgia gives Scotland a bit of a scare in the Rugby World Cup send-off at Murrayfield. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. To start this one, we have a couple of positives from Scotland. We got a decent run from Van der Merwe, and they're looking to throw the ball around and run it at every opportunity. Georgia, though, they managed to work it forward, and they're looking good close to the line, but Scotland do manage to create a maul and then turn it over. Then from the resulting scrum, they kick it clear. But Georgia, they're finding half gaps. They're coming again, but there's a knock on and it sees the move break down. And at that stage, they actually had created a nice overlap out wide. Shows that they aren't causing problems to the Scotland defence. And we're seeing how Georgia have developed their game over the last decade or so beyond just being a good scrummaging side. Georgia then, pressure for them, it leads to a penalty, and MacLeod opens the scoring. It's 3-0, and they're good value for that lead. They continue to apply pressure with ball in hand. They're causing the Scotland defence problems, but they can't quite find a way over that try line. Win another penalty, MacLeod makes it 6-0. Continue to play with ambition, and they're denying Scotland any sustained periods of possession at this stage. Scotland though finally get their hands on the ball for a bit, but it's very static. No one running onto the ball. Georgia, they're being very aggressive in defence, and they manage to force a knock on. Scotland then win a penalty at the breakdown, but it looked like at that stage that penalty could have gone either way. Scotland decided to kick for the corner. Georgia then come in at the side of the maul. Scotland, they decide to take a quick tap from the penalty. Georgia defence though holds strong and begins to edge them backwards before turning it over. They then try to break but can't keep the move going. I think the quick tap was probably the wrong call from Scotland, and it was really good work from Richie to prevent that break being any more effective. Scotland then, they start taking some control. They're camped in the Georgia half and probing for a way through. They win themselves a scrum penalty just inside the 22. Russell decides again he's going to kick to the corner. Gilchrist claims the line out. Georgia defend them all well. Scotland then decide to go inside. Tuipulotu and Jones combine well. They get very close to the line. They recycle then over to Stain on the wing. But then we have a TMO check, and it confirms that he loses control as he's trying to ground in the corner under pressure from Niniashvili. Scotland, I'm thinking at this stage they could have been level if they'd taken two very kickable penalties. Georgia though, they weather the storm. They get the ball off the field, and it's 6-0 to Georgia at half time. Great value for that lead, but Scotland are beginning to work their way back into the game. Into the second half then, Scotland started on the front foot. You have some good play from Russell and a break from Jones. He can't quite find Van der Merwe with an offload. Georgia then managed to kick clear, but Scotland are coming back at him at this stage. Van der Merwe, he gets pulled down just short by Niniashvili. Georgia then almost intercept and break themselves, and it probably would have been a length of the field try if they had been able to do it. Scotland though have a scrum 10 minutes out. It's close to the right touchline. They win a penalty at the scrum, and it's lucky that they did, because Georgia do actually intercept this time as Scotland tried to spread it from that scrum. Russell then decides to go to the corner from the penalty. Scotland are looking a little more confident now. Gilchrist claims the line out. Georgia managed to halt them all, but Jalagonia is in at the side. Scotland, another penalty. They go to the corner again. Georgia halt them all once again, but this time it's legally. White, he's told to use the ball. He kind of struggles to get out. Finally does get it out to Tuipulotu. give it on to Russell. He puts in a kick on the outside of his boot over to Van der Merwe to gather and go over in the corner. If you haven't seen the kick from Russell, it's definitely worth checking it out on YouTube. Russell then converts from out wide, and it's 7-6 to Scotland in the lead. They then strike again not long after that. Van der Merwe breaking into the 22. He really has caused a lot of problems for Georgia today. Gets dragged down just short. It's recycled. They've got men out wide, but I don't know who it was, but there was somebody who was basically at the edge of the Georgia defence, and he decided to try and get over himself rather than using the men they had out wide. By the time they recycle it, Georgia have their defence set again, but Rory Darge managed to get over from close range. Russell converts this one, 14-6, and Scotland really are starting to take the game by the scruff of the neck. They then win a penalty, go to the corner again. But this time, shortly after the restart, then Georgia win a penalty. They kick to the corner, but Scotland managed to steal the 5-metre line out, and Healy kicks clear. He's now on for Russell. Scotland, they look like they're in charge now, and they're going in search of more points. You have some strong carries in the 22 from the forwards, and then Dempsey managed to force his way over. Healy converts this one as 21-6. We still have some flashes from Georgia. We have a nice kick return by Ninyanishvili. He goes on a bit of a mazy run, but it's just kind of in pockets from Georgia now. No real sustained pressure. And that kick return as well was from a 60-metre kick from Ben Healy. And, that guy's got some boot. And now with him on the field, it means that Georgia really are being pegged in their own half. Ollie Smith then puts Chris Harris through a gap. Harris breaks up field, but can't find Horn in support. It's recycled. There's a chip over towards Van der Merwe, but it bounces into touch. Scotland then come again. Van der Merwe sucking in defenders in the 22. Then Dempsey goes close. It's recycled, and Stain goes over under the post. Healy converts, and it's 28-6. And all thoughts of any kind of upset have been completely banished now. Georgia, though, do come looking for a try that their efforts have deserved. They work it to within 5 metres of the line, but then Scotland defence holds strong. Ninyanishvili gets isolated. Smith and Ferguson get over the ball, win the penalty. Scotland then come back on attack and win the penalty for a high hit on Stain on the edge of the 22. They go to the corner from this one. Dempsey claims. Maul makes good initial progress, but Georgia do halt it. They spread it then. Healy gives a monster pass out to Van der Merwe out on the wing, but it doesn't go to hand. Georgia then go over the top from their 5-metre defensive lineout. Scotland managed to claim the ball. Georgia, they're offside, so it's a penalty to Scotland. They decide to tap and go. This time the long pass does find Van der Merwe. He goes over to score in the corner. Healy misses the touchline conversion. It's 33-6, and that's how the game finished. I thought, Georgia in that first half were, really good, exceptional play for them. They took the points, when they had the chance, and they put on a lot of pressure, and they were dangerous with ball in hand as well. That's what some people don't realise about this Georgia team. Sometimes with teams like Georgia, when you haven't seen them for, a few years, you have kind of a frozen memory of them, of being, Georgia, they got a great scrum, and not much else. But this is a very different Georgia team. It's been a long time since they've only been a scrummaging team. They've worked so well developing their backs play and improving the skills of the forwards as well. And, because of that, I think they're going to give a tough game to almost anyone, and that includes Wales and Australia in their Rugby World Cup pool. Scotland struggled in that first half. Should have taken the points, I think, when they had the chance. You know, against Georgia, it didn't matter, but against another team, it might actually, you know, be important to just, you know, keep in touch when you can. We all know that Scotland have the ability to come back at teams, but, you know, when the points are there and you can just eke away at, you know, at that, chip away at that lead, why not do it? And then have your purple patch and pull away rather than actually, you know, coming back to be level. But the second half for them was far better. And, you know, it's a decent win. Crucially, no injuries. And, you know, that's going to be very important for them, I think, ahead of that clash with the Springboks.